Hey everybody, welcome to The Boy and the Beard, Season 2, Episode 6.
Yeah, episode
we
6.
kind of messed that up last week.
We were in the right ballpark. To be
We
fair.
were. I'm excited. Today we've got Doc in from J. Lee Coney's.
Yep.
And what I'm excited about is two things. One, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. So I'm excited to learn you, your story, what you think about the restaurant business.
Yeah.
And maybe hear a crazy story or two that you've got to share. And Tony and I got a little bit of experience in the restaurant business, so I've can share some with you as well.
Absolutely.
So J. Lee Coney's is located in the what's the name of that shopping center officially?
Beaufort Town Center.
Beaufort Town Center. That's right. Owned by 303 Associates. Great location, great corner spot.
It could be better. I could be off the street.
Well, yeah, I think they're reinvesting a lot of money into that area,
They are.
and I know they're doing a lot of advertising for the vendors and for their tenants.
Absolutely.
And that, so it's good to see Mr. Dick Stewart putting money back into some of that stuff. When did you guys open?
We opened April 19th of 2021, dead smack in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How scary was that?
It was really scary, but the scary part was more because it seemed like I was going against family and friends.
Okay.
So many people were adamant that I did not open a restaurant, not only a restaurant, but start a new business venture in the middle of a pandemic. There was so much going on, and I don't know how far we're going to go into that, but I mean, there was a lot going on at the time. So for us to open a restaurant, for my wife to back me on opening a restaurant,
That's
with
big.
everything that we had going on, it got pretty chaotic.
Yeah, and there are obviously some trials and tribulations in the first couple months. I know that I remember some running out of product because you don't know what to stock, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have anything to go off of last year's numbers, and you don't know how everybody's going to react.
Well, the crazy part is, so I have no entrepreneurial experience at all. I've worked at Wendy's before. That was actually my first on the check job, on payroll job. But aside from that, restaurants were like, okay, I got a little bit of Wendy's experience for restaurants. I have a lot of managerial experience for when I worked for a company. I'm not sure if I can say their name. But I worked for a uniform company.
Got
Let's
it.
put it like that. And I had a lot of managerial experience with them. And to go into owning a restaurant, it's like, oh, okay, I'll just buy a bunch of food. I know I can cook. That was another crazy thing. When we first opened, there was a point where we had to close for a couple of days because everything that could go wrong went wrong. I mean, we're talking about the POS went down. The team didn't know how to boot it back up. The receipt printer ran out of receipt printer tape.
Yep.
So we weren't getting orders to the back.
Oof.
So they had to write all of the orders down and bring them back there to us. The internet went down. We couldn't figure out why the internet stopped working. So the whole POS was just not
out.
taking orders.
Yeah.
It got really, 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 really crazy during those first couple of months.
And that's I think with any new business, it's going to happen. Fortunately, you bounced back. You didn't really take any major crazy hits. You guys are doing extremely well.
Yes.
I know folks on Facebook love you.
Thank God. So it was honestly, I can only call it a miracle, because when you take a guy from the north, bring him to the south, and try to implement a northern concept down here, it's like, okay, how are people going to receive this?
Right.
It's crazy how many people showed up, because I had accountants and people that were helping me create the business plan, and they're saying, well, you're going to have a slow start to begin with. And I was expecting a slow start. We opened day one, and it seemed like everyone in Beaufort was there.
Yeah.
I remember there's one thing that I challenged my team to, and now it doesn't matter because we make cheesecakes on a regular basis, but I make a really killer cheesecake.
Yeah.
And I told my team, if we ever have a $2,000 day again, I'll make a cheesecake. Well, the only day we opened April 19th, the only day we had a $2,000 day was April 31st.
Wow.
And we were from open to close, just consistent chaos.
Yeah.
and I was the only cook.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know how we hit $2,000. I don't know how people didn't
were
leave.
hoofing
I'm
it.
pretty sure the wait ticket was about an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
But everybody wanted to try the new spot in town, and
Yep.
then we got dragged through the mud on the internet. And I was like, okay, we have to change this.
Yeah, it's tough. So I think, the fact that you're a small business makes the world of difference. Not that the expectations are a little bit different, but they're more forgiving and understanding because of the fact that you are a small business and you struggle with learning certain things. And granted, they may not know your back history, but they do know you're a small business.
Yeah.
If you're a corporate, then there's, you run out of burgers at one
They
of the
know
other
you have
big-
a safety net when you're corporate, or
Right.
like more resources behind you for
Yeah.
your franchise. Yeah.
When did you move to Beaufort?
We moved to Beaufort January of 2021. We moved from Greenville, South Carolina. I was initially looking at opening J. Lee's Coney Island and Clemson.
Okay.
And several things came about. Again, I don't know how spiritual you guys are. I'm very spiritual.
Yeah.
So I try to tone it down a little bit, but
No,
when
feel
it
free
comes
to
to
just be yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, it was all God led.
Yeah.
The whole opening of business was all God led. But to fast forward through some of it, when it came to opening in Clemson, there were just some things, and I'm praying, and God's like, no, that's not it. Even though it seemed very ideal. I mean, it was a corner spot right off a main road, right underneath student housing. Ideal spot. And God's like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
So we had to walk away from that, and then we were like, okay, we found another spot that was downtown Greenville on Main Street. I mean, you're talking about foot traffic galore. And I was like, look a little further south. And it came in the voice of my aunt, who said, have you guys thought about opening in Beaufort? And meanwhile, I have a contract that's getting ready to happen in Greenville.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know anything about Beaufort. And my wife chimes in. Of course, she always chimes in. She's like, you didn't know anything about Clemson or Greenville either, but you did the research. I was like, okay. I don't want any problems.
Yeah.
And we eventually looked into it, and I said, okay, well, if God's not there, I'm not going, period. Kind of a whole fire by day or cloud by day, fire by night type deal. And we came down here, we only looked at two spots. We looked at the spot right next to student housing, because I still had Clemson in mind.
Yeah. The one that used to be the sand shark tank?
Yes.
Right there in the corner? Yeah.
And I said, you know what, this isn't going to work. It didn't have a walk-in cooler. I would have had to have one built, essentially. And then I'm like, okay, I'm losing storage space, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, okay, let's look at the other place. And we walked into the place that we are now, and it was almost like a weird piece. It was like, you're home. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah. That's
This is
perfect.
it.
Yeah. What was there before? My wife and I, we had just had lunch there maybe last Sunday or something. We went in there. It was closer to the end of the day. And we were trying to think what was there before you. Do you know?
So before us was Clean Eats.
I knew that.
Hence the orange and green bathrooms.
Oh,
because
yeah,
I got really lazy
Yeah.
and didn't want to paint again. And then before Clean Eats, evidently there was a donut shop that lasted all of 4 or 5 months.
Really?
Interesting.
Which was scary, because Clean Eats, they said, lasted for about a year. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this isn't really good.
Well, the concept makes a huge difference.
Yes.
And people that manage it, and then
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that it's a world of difference. Nothing against them. I didn't know anything about them or anything
No,
like that. So I'm not making
absolutely.
any insinuations on them as a person.
If you hear this, please
Yeah.
don't comment back.
Yeah, I don't do Clean Eats.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Well,
What was it, like a healthy food?
Yeah, I think they prepped daily meals.
Rabbit food.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
rabbit
Yeah, I
food,
got
yeah,
you. Some
yeah.
quinoa, some
Yeah.
asparagus.
No hearty
not,
chili
not
dogs.
my style.
and burgers.
Actually, my
Yeah.
wife has to fight me to eat vegetables.
Mine too. Mine too. It's
Yes.
rough.
Carnivore. Just
Yeah.
give me
Feed you. So there was some explanation of J. Lee Coney's, because it's more explain to those that don't know up north how frequent these are and how they're different, because it's a different name, correct?
Yes. So a lot of people associate Coney Island with New York, but if you ever get the opportunity to Google Map or do research or whatever the case may be, Coney Island is almost like a lifestyle in Detroit. The concept of a Coney Island is being able to go to a place and get something that's going to be filling for not a lot of money, because of course everybody in Detroit for the most part, is not exactly affluent when it comes to finances. And I wanted to bring that with me. I remember going up to Detroit and having a conversation with my dad, and I said, we don't have anything like this in South Carolina. And he was like, well, you should make it. And I was like, yeah, right.
Right.
So the concept of Coney Island is really the premise of a place where the rookie cop, the single mother of four or single parent of four, because it can go either way nowadays, with children that can't necessarily decide on one place to eat, where they can all go and have whatever they want all under one roof for a fair amount of money without killing the bank.
Right.
I remember this one family that initially was coming in for a very long time. I think they were military. 3 kids, wife, husband, and they would come in, and the kid would get a cheese quesadilla, another kid would get a grilled cheese sandwich, which was strange to me because they're essentially the same thing.
Yeah, just got thinner bread on one.
Exactly. And then the dad would get a stir fry, the wife would get breakfast, and then the baby would just eat fries. Where else in America can you do that other than, essentially a Coney Island? And people from New York are like, oh, are these foot-long dogs? Are these Coney Island dogs? And I'm like, no, they're Detroit Coneys.
Yeah.
You have to realize the concept of Coney Island, it is almost universal now, and it's bridging 2 worlds.
Got it. Are you from Detroit?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. My wife and I were up there.
I'm sorry.
First trip to Detroit, and just kind of downtown, and had some good pizza, and the Tigers Stadium. We were right there hanging out, and of course had to ride down 8 Mile. And
oh yeah. How many strip clubs did you see?
None.
Oh.
Well, I had the blinders on. When she's next to me.
I was about to say, seeing none on 8 Mile, that's insane.
I was driving, and so my focus was kind of on ahead of me.
I get you.
And plus, she's on the right, so 10 and 2.
Exactly.
I don't want to get in trouble either.
I respect
you know what I'm saying?
So
we loved
go to. I said see.
Yeah.
No.
So
go ahead.
we enjoyed it. I mean, the country. It's hardship for sure. Visually, it's distraught, and to see and to know that it was once a thriving community. On both sides of the playing field for economic reasons. And so
it's interesting just to talk about Detroit for a minute, because what you saw and what a lot of people see as a impoverished community, that's how it's kind of always been for us. Whether it was financially, everybody was making ends meet, working at the different plants, whether it was General Motors, Ford, etc., or Chrysler at the time. All of these places still look the same. The communities all look the same. It's strange how so many people started getting attention to what Detroit was after all of the, crooked mayor and the city files for bankruptcy, and we're America's largest city to ever file for bankruptcy, and it's like we've always experienced this, and it was never a bad thing,
right?
Specifically for people living in the city. I mean, even when it comes to the racial divide, I didn't experience racism until I left the city, which was crazy to me, because in the city, it's like, okay, you have white people, you have black people, you have Indian, you have Mexican, and they all live in their certain quadrants, but we could all coexist because we understand that we're all struggling together.
Yeah, for sure, exactly right. Yeah, that one coming.
But then when I got to college, and no offense to the state of Ohio, but I went to school in Ohio, and that's my first time ever experiencing racism.
Right.
And it was like, holy crap, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You got maybe 2 more pennies than I do, literally, just 2 pennies. And you're better than me. How?
But yeah, it's. I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
Actually, outside a couple different places, but living in rent controlled housing and being on food stamps and telling my friends, hey, look what I found.
Yeah.
You know, going to the gas station or going to Kroger or where I had to go to get something. You know, you're a little embarrassed to say that you had those. Buy a pair of shoes, get another pair for a penny. Back in the day, at one point we had lived in a trailer in a trailer park and there was no grass. And literally, it was just like they just plow that Carolina dirt, and the heat was the oven. Turn the stove on, open that door. You know what I mean?
And it heats the whole house.
Oh yeah. So you know, and that's I think where kind of my work ethic comes from is understanding where I've been, and then not wanting to be in that place again. So it's I think everybody's got some of those challenges, and so I'm excited that you're here, and I'm excited you're doing it extremely well.
Thank you.
And that the public loves you, and
But no, we are doing very well, a lot better than I would have ever expected.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is attributed to the communities embracing this Yankee. And it was mind-blowing because a lot of people, when they first came in, they said, oh, I thought you guys just did dogs. And I do a terrible job at advertising. But when they come in and they see the menu in full, they kind of get taken aback.
Right.
And they look at it and they're like, okay, I thought I wanted a hot dog.
Right, for sure.
But I see breakfast all day. I see burgers. There's a Mexican food restaurant down the road, but they still have the nerve to have quesadillas on me. Like, what's going on here? And my favorite question is every time, hey, what's your favorite thing on the menu? Because I don't look like a business owner. So if I'm at the front register and they're just like, hey, what's your favorite thing on the menu? And I'm like, well, the truth of the matter is, I'm simple. I like French toast.
Yeah.
And they always go, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to get the Reuben.
My wife was taken aback because I had brought something home for her before, and this was her first time in the location and seeing the menu, and she overlooked the patty melt after we had already ordered, and so definitely coming and making a trip back to get that patty melt because that's what she's. So what's been the biggest challenge for you since you opened? So let's talk about before you opened. What was your biggest challenge getting the restaurant open?
Before I opened, the biggest challenge for me was figuring out how I was going to do it. A little bit of backstory, and then I'm gonna dive right into it. So be prepared for the swan dive. I was let go from that uniform company after working 5 years with them. I was one of their top sales reps in new business, but I get why they had to let me go. If I was to be able to continue to sell at that rate, and the commissions were insane, then they wouldn't really be able to pay me. So from my understanding, they let go a lot of their top sales reps, and they kept a lot of the tier 2, tier 3, et cetera, et cetera. Not to say anything about those guys, but it's just the top sales reps were the ones that were the money pits. And so when they let me go, I was sitting there like, I don't have any money coming in. I took a job at Lowe's.
Right.
And shout out to Lowe's because every couple of weeks or every 4 weeks or whatever, the CEO of Lowe's would say, hey, we hit our quarterly earnings. We blew it out the water, obviously because a lot of people got laid off and a lot of these honey-do lists had to be done. And they would throw like an extra $200 to the full-time employees, an extra $150 to part-time employees. So they helped carry the family for a very long time. And meanwhile, I'm telling my wife, hey, God wants me to open this restaurant. God wants me to open this restaurant. And she's like, okay, I got you. Meanwhile, she's 8 months pregnant.
Oof.
Yeah. So the struggle was figuring out where the money was going to come from. And I remember watching a pastor online, Pastor Michael Todd of Transformation Church. He said, all you have is all you need. And I'm like, I don't have a lot.
Yeah.
And I hear, Holy Spirit tells me, hey, you got your 401k. No, I don't. That is a no touch. Yeah. But since I started working with the company for 5 years, from the first day I put 15% of my
Oh, nice.
check into my 401k.
Yeah.
And it was like that for 5 years. So when they let me go, I had like 60 grand
Right, for sure.
just sitting there. And I was like, okay, well, let me talk to a bank. And banks were like, we're not funding any startups. If you want to start a chain, sure. But we're not funding any startups. I mean, SBA loans out the wazoo.
Yep.
Not touching startups. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, what if SBA says yes? It was like, but the bank has the final say. No. I was like, oh, that's comforting. All right. But so I ended up taking my 401k and putting it into an IRA, and then I took half of it.
Got it.
And that's how J. Lee's got started.
Excellent. So now, since you've been open, what's your biggest challenge? Is it staffing? Is it food cost, profits?
Really, it's food costs. Staffing, our team is amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for a better team. I'm getting ready to bring one other person on, but because of our reputation in the community, everybody wants to work with us. It's
funny
crazy.
how that works.
I'm mind blown again how many people keep coming and saying, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" And for one reason or another, I have to say, "Hey, I don't want to do that to you." One reason that I get is high schoolers.
Yep.
I can only work them after they get out to 8 o'clock according to South Carolina state
Right.
law. And then another reason may be, hey, I work here, and then I'll work at J. Lee's during this time. And I'm like, you're going to burn yourself out.
Yeah.
I did it for years. In undergrad, I had 3 jobs. I had a full-time off-campus, I had a tutoring job, and then I worked full-time on campus. Meanwhile, while holding down 18 credit hours. It sounded great. I made the most money I ever made in my life while I was an undergrad, but
It's pointless.
burn yourself out.
Yeah.
So I'll tell them, hey, I would love to give you part-time hours, but it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is food costs. With this, whether it's shipping costs or ports or whatever the case is that's going on around the world, prices keep going up, and I don't want to do that to my customers. So on the back end, what people don't see is I eat a lot of costs. Where most businesses have it already built in. I'm fairly good friends with several restaurant owners now. Who'd have thought? They tell me, "Oh yeah, we increased the prices and we planned for more inflation," and I'm like, I'm not doing that to my customers. For the longest, for an example, the Reuben, our brisket costs were, give or take, $4 and some change per pound.
Okay.
Now it's like $6 and some change per pound. But I'm not increasing the price of my Reuben.
Right.
So what I did was I went and found another avenue to get the brisket from, and now I get it at, instead of $4 as a change, I'm able to get it at $3, close to $4 per pound.
Got it.
Where that makes more sense.
Right.
I could keep providing quality. I could keep providing what people like without having to increase the prices. But if I wasn't the research-oriented person that I am, because I have a computer engineering degree with a minor in nuclear engineering, what I'm doing owning a restaurant
I
again.
was going to go with that.
I have that research mindset. I went and found it.
Yeah.
So that I don't have to do that to my customer
Yeah.
base.
That's perfect.
It sucks, but especially since you guys love the restaurant so much. But J. Lee's Coney Island is a front. It is all the way through and through a front. I came here for the community.
Yeah.
And you can hear hints of it in the background, but most people, if they don't really pay attention to it, they'll just glance over it. Like, oh, he's talking about the community. No, I'm really here for the heart of the community.
Yeah.
We give away free Bibles. We are getting ready to adopt a family for the holidays. We feed the homeless. My main goal right now is to open a women and children shelter / women's rehab, because everything is so male oriented. Not only that, but I was homeless before.
Okay.
So that's where the women and children shelter has a special place in my heart. Sorry. So that's, if anything, that's the only thing that I try to tell people once they have an ear to hear. J. Lee's Coney Island is the front. It always will be. If I'm not doing anything in the community, I've lost the ability to relate.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We've done a couple donations for Thanksgiving. Like this year, we got 2 families that we're giving Thanksgiving dinners for, and
Amen.
we've done it for like the last 4 to 6 years. Christmas giving trees, and as much as we can to give back. It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah. That's something In-N-Out was great about too, is we would adopt a family on Christmas, and then any associate who wanted to go.
Yeah.
So like a week before Christmas, literally like 40 people would show up at these
Yeah.
kids' houses with 100 presents, and we'd just pile them in, throw them on the couch, put them in the room, and we'd just be like, bye-bye. Yeah, it was a really great feeling.
Chase Bank did that for, at the time it was me, my mom, and my brother, and my sister. And Chase Bank comes in one morning, and we just got out of the shelter. We finally got our own place, but we're all sleeping on pallets.
Yeah.
Not pallets. I forget what they call them, but you pretty much lay a blanket on the floor, lay another blanket.
I
on
call
top
them a
of it.
pallet.
Yeah,
too.
pallet is what I would call
Yeah.
it. Yeah. When you said that, I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like we were sleeping on the floor. We just got into this apartment, and we get a knock on the door. We all understand that Christmas is coming. We're not getting anything.
Right.
We're just grateful to have a roof over our head.
Of course.
And we're living in Delaware at the time. And Chase Bank comes in, and they're like, "Yeah, we adopted your family for Christmas, and we know that I don't even remember writing it, but they said your son said the only thing that he wanted for the family was a computer." And that was just me being selfish.
Of course.
But they ended up gifting us a computer, gifting us socks, clothes, underwear, pants, shirts, shoes, and they gave me my first Apple product. I had an iPod Nano.
Oh, nice.
And I went everywhere with that.
Oh, of course.
But it was insane to me how they, out of the kindness of their heart, whether it's mandated by the company or whatever,
Regardless.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, of course.
All I saw was these 3 people that showed up with gifts for our family that didn't think that it was going to happen this year.
Yeah.
And so one day I'm riding, I go get a lot of my groceries from Charleston. And I'm riding to Charleston, and that is the most boring drive ever. Whoever's in charge of development needs to do something.
As boring as it is now, it used to be even more boring when it was just 2 lanes.
Oh, God.
So before it was 4 lanes, it was always just 2. Just like the trip to Savannah, it was the same. It was horrible.
I would, well, how many pennies do I need to donate to get something on that road?
Some street lights.
Yeah.
But going to Charleston, I heard, I did it for you, do it for someone else. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just listening to my to church sermon.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I lose a signal and dead zone and all of that good jazz. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. All right, what now?
Yeah.
It's like, adopt a family. So at that point, when I get phone service, I pull over and I start recording. I say, "Hey, family," and I'm telling this to my team. I record video to them. I'm saying, "Hey, family, we're going to adopt a family this Christmas." I was like, "Now, this is optional for you guys. I'm going to do it regardless because I have to be obedient. But I'm going to give you guys a $200 bonus just to say thank you during the Christmas season. Or you could take that money that I was going to give you, put it with mine, and we're going to adopt a family." And almost like clockwork, adopt a family. And I'm like, I knew I picked the right people to hire. And it was amazing, just the results of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it touches your heart in a different way when you know that you can help somebody, even not even getting the credit for it. You know what I mean? It's not even about that.
I could care less about the credit.
Yeah, just the ability for us to be able to give back when we can, as often as we can. So, what's your favorite music?
What's not my favorite music? I don't like grunge. That's
Okay.
about as far as it goes.
That's it. Other than that, you're okay.
Like grunge and screamo.
Yeah.
and just
So
put that over
what's on the shuffle list now, or what are you playing?
right now, if it's not, I like neo soul. I'm listening to Bach, Beethoven. I have my workout playlist, which is comprised of hip hop and Eminem, because he's in his own category.
Yep.
I have a lot of pop. I have a lot of gospel, tons of gospel.
Yeah.
R&B. I'm not too much of a fan of R. Kelly. Never have been.
No. Yeah.
It's just I
And
don't
then-
know.
and-
Maybe
yeah.
it had something to do with the fact that I was conceived to R. Kelly. I'm good there.
Yeah.
But I like a lot of everything.
Yeah.
There is very few. I'm weird. I listen to Christmas music when it's not Christmas season.
It just makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah, it does. Until Christmas season comes around, I'm like, turn it off.
Have you? So Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak have Silk Sonic.
I have not listened to the entirety of the album yet. For the 4 tracks that I have listened to, amazing. How it was composed, how it runs together.
It tells a story.
It does, and it's beautiful. I think we've lost the ability to tell a story in its true art form. I listen to a lot of underground music as well. People who are still waiting on that one premiere shot. I can't remember her name, but I know her last name is Snow, Snoh. She makes a song called Whoa. I don't know if you've heard it. Listen to it. It's really good.
Okay.
I'll give you the name once I get out here. But yeah, Anderson .Paak, and first of all, just those two alone.
Just alone.
You would have never put those two in the same category.
No.
Not even on a 1 track, let
No.
alone an entire album.
You know what turned me on Anderson .Paak was I was watching a TikTok with Justin Timberlake and Anderson .Paak sitting there, and they're just off the cuff grooving or whatever. I'm like, who is this? And I seen the comments, and I said, okay, let me go see what this is about.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's crazy. He's been around just as long as J. Cole.
Oh, a minute. Yeah, he's been around a minute.
And I remember looking at it was one of those magazine covers, and he was on the cover with J. Cole and other guys just as freshman class. And I'm like, this guy's in the same. Where has he been this entire time?
Did you ever hear that J. Cole tried to give his mixtape to Jay-Z, and Jay-Z was like...
Yes. So, again, I am a big history buff when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I remember right around when that happened, Jay-Z was releasing Blueprint 3, and he was working on Blueprint 3, and to know that Jay-Z initially said, no, I'm not gonna, I don't have time for this. Could you imagine Jay-Z?
I don't blame
rejecting
Jay-Z,
you?
right? But
It's like of all people to be rejected by Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Not to put this guy on a pedestal, but he's kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
now when they see each other, J. Cole's probably just like, what's that?
Yeah, you almost passed up on me, but I'm not gonna hold it against you.
So you know about like Top Dog Entertainment, Black Hippie,
Yes.
Kendrick leaving, and all that.
So that's interesting to me, because I don't think that was a move that Kendrick made to do anything undermining. I think it was just, hey, I need to broaden things.
Be myself. So do you think he's gonna, what do they call it when you just release your own music? What are they? Independent. Do you think he's gonna go the independent route or sign with another label?
I think he probably will go the independent route.
I think he can.
He has full capacity. I mean, between when you look at independent
His
artists,
back-to-backs.
E40, Tech Nine, and these are just in the hip hop genre. You look at these independent artists that have the capacity to do it.
Dude,
Kendrick
E40
is
has like
definitely-
27 studio albums or something.
What?
It's
I love
literally
E40.
insane. And then Tech Nine is still dropping music.
Still, he just released
Did you hear Clydesdale with E40 and Tech Nine too? That's a great song.
I did. Did you know that Tech Nine just released a song with The Rock? Yes.
What?
The Rock's first.
Wait, is that what
ever-
that rap verse is from?
Yes.
That's all over
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
internet.
Yes.
It's from a Tech
Face Off.
Nine song.
It's from
That
Tech
is
Nine's
hilarious. I had no idea.
But no, these. Yes. I'm sorry. We got sidetracked.
No.
When it comes to music, I absolutely love music. I love music in its truest form. First, you have to have a tempo. Then you have to have a beat. And then you have to have somebody play around with their imagination. I think that is. It gets us back to the root of what art is.
Do you have a favorite producer that you like? Is it Timbaland? I mean, or the or Neptunes or?
I think when it comes to being a producer, right now, the number one producer. I can't help it. I try not to like the guy, but his skill is there. Is DJ Khaled.
I knew where you were going. So you said I try not to like him. I was like, he's about to say DJ Khaled.
I mean, every track he's yelling, but
his producer tag, I can't.
He has a skill.
He does.
But then you have to look at Marshmello as a producer, Daft Punk. Those guys are crazy good, and they've been around for years and years and years. Deadmau5.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
My favorite artist. I know I have to say this while it's still on my mind, but my favorite artist is always going to be Fall Out Boy.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
I didn't anticipate that.
I am a Fall Out Boy fan. That was
Fall Out Boy for
first time.
centuries. Am I right?
We're talking about Under the Oak Tree. I mean, you're talking about going back. That was the first concert and the only concert I've ever been to.
Really?
And it was the Fall Out Boy and Paramore concert in Chicago, a Monument tour, and I lost my voice for like 4 days. But those guys.
That's funny. I don't know if I've ever.
Yeah,
I'm sure I know. I couldn't name you a Fall Out Boy.
They had
song,
some radio hits.
but,
You would
yeah,
definitely
and I apologize
recognize.
for that. Please don't lose any respect.
No.
Real quick, just thinking about you're talking about. So, did you hear that Adele has changed Spotify? So when you go to Spotify, it's not automatically on shuffle. The albums will play in its entirety from front to back. So Adele made the push because she told a story in her 30 that just released on the 19th.
I did not know that. So I've been avoiding Adele's album because I don't feel like
Crying.
Like as a grown man, I should be crying in my car.
I mean, that's every day with TikTok with my wife. She look at this, look at this,
All
look
this
at
is
this.
sad, sentimental stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
holy cow!
So if my wife ever hears this, and she's probably going to know, the truth is I hate TikTok. I think there's too many social media sites out there, and TikTok is just where I drew the line. So she tries to show me stuff, and I'm like, TikTok symbol? Nope.
What? So let's jump ahead. Let's talk about movies. What's do you have a favorite genre movie? Is it rom-com? Is it action?
Oh, I love action. I love comedy. My favorite movie, and it's probably very. I'm probably stereotyping my entire race. My favorite movie is How High.
Oh,
I think that
that's
the
with
premise behind
Method
it,
Man and
Redman and Method Man. Yeah. I think the premise behind it of two ordinary guys from the hood going to Harvard and turning it on its head was a very unique way to do things. I didn't see How High 2, probably a good thing.
Like House Party 3.
Yeah, but I think How High was very key to what we see in the aspirations to turn the table and come to the table and have a conversation.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, I mean, even though everybody was completely blazed, I mean, you had the dean and the chancellor and these two guys all having conversation, and it's just let's talk versus I don't associate with you. So I love the movie for that. Last night I went to go see Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Don't tell me about it.
I want to see it.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go. I think we were just talking. So Tony's my nephew, my wife's nephew.
We're all
and
into
by
movies
marriage.
and-
So we're all into movies, and we were just talking about it. So I don't know if it was a Christmas thing that Kelly said or Thanksgiving. We've got it on the books, but
I give it definitely, if I had another hand, 3 thumbs up.
Really?
Like that
Okay.
is
No, I'm excited.
that.
I love
It was an
Ghostbusters.
ode to the original.
was it good?
Oh my goodness, it was amazing.
So the same, obviously the one with the women, that whole universe is.
I didn't watch it,
We didn't.
Nothing
that-
against the
Yeah,
ladies.
no, of course.
but Ghostbusters in full comedy mode
Yeah.
was not doing it for me.
Right.
Ghostbusters in partial comedy mode,
Yeah.
of course, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But in full comedy mode, I couldn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? Other than what, do you rank that on one of your favorite movies now? Or is there something that you go back to?
Not top 5, but
Okay.
I will put it in top 10.
Okay. Let's go top 5. Let's hear that.
My top 5 movies are Fences, because that was the first movie me and my wife went to go see together.
The one that came out in 2018 with Denzel. That movie was
it made me cry.
phenomenal.
It made me cry, and I was upset because it was our first date, and she made me cry on our first date.
Yeah. Hey, it's all right.
But so Fences, of course, How High, like I just stated. I lump all of the Die Hard movies into one.
I love Die Hard.
Do you want to ask him? Die Hard a Christmas?
Oh yeah, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Do you consider it a Christmas movie?
Absolutely.
Good.
I mean,
good,
why
good,
wouldn't
good.
it be?
Yeah, exactly. It takes place during Christmas. Christmas is relevant for the plot. There's references to Christmas within the movie.
Exactly.
What
It's
more
a
do you want
Christmas
from me?
movie.
You put it
Okay.
on during
If
you know,
it's
Easter.
snowing in the movie, I would still classify it.
Still Christmas.
It's during the winter. Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Oh, but that leads to my fourth one.
Yeah.
Fourth one would be Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ooh.
That is always going to be a classic. I think Tim Burton probably outdid himself, and probably that's where he peaked.
Yeah.
But
My
Nightmare
mom
Before
loves
Christmas.
that movie. She's obsessed with it, so I naturally love it too. Because I mean, probably a few times a year my whole life. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then my last slot would definitely have to go to Independence Day. Only because I can't really justify putting iRobot or I Am Legend before Independence Day.
Right.
Which is strange. They all begin with
Are those
I.
your upper echelon of Will Smith thriller action
absolutely.
movies? Yeah.
But reason being for Independence Day is because my birthday is on July 4th.
Oh.
It's overrated, trust me. What are you doing? You want to come hang out with me for my birthday? No, I got plans.
Yeah, exactly. You think about that. It's like Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. But Independence Day, again, I wanted to go into the Marines. I wanted to be an aviator. I actually went as far as going to Pensacola, getting my NAMI physical. They said I was a perfect fit for the cockpit. I was like, amazing. It was like, okay, you're 220 pounds. We just need you to run 3 miles in as close to 18 minutes as possible. I was like, I can lift weights. Can we do that?
Yeah.
But Will Smith was the guy I wanted to be.
Yeah. I can see that.
Just dragging an alien
Yeah.
body.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
movie-
No, it's something about it.
It was like, because I was young, obviously, when I saw it. I think it came out the year I was born, I'm pretty sure, 99.
Thanks
So,
for making me feel old.
yeah, you're welcome. But the alien itself creeped me out. And then Ghostbusters also scared me as a child, like the library ghost.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
I mean,
That
that's a
was-
very charged film
That is-
in a lot of regards. So
Yeah.
when I was
You mean
5 or
Marshmallow
6,
Stay Puft Man?
everything about that. Yeah.
How old are you?
I just turned 30.
Excellent.
Yeah. That's why every time someone calls me sir or mister, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
I got maybe 5 years on you. Calm down.
Yeah, my son will be 27 next month. And yeah,
It's crazy. I would have never got that from you.
It's my petiteness, and I hate it. I mean, I'm 5'5", 130. Been this way my whole life, and everybody's always thought I was younger. But yeah, about 49.
Yeah, but chicks dig beards. So
Just
you
turned
obviously
49.
lucked up because you got the wife, and I'm like, come on, man, you
Yeah.
went in here.
So, anything else you want to talk about?
Because
Because I got one last question that we always end on.
Oh boy. So I'm always curious how you guys decided to like get this going. And I'm pretty sure your whole team, all of your followers already know. But
Honestly,
for
no.
me,
We haven't. Yeah, we've never discussed the Boy in the Beard beginnings. SK, I've talked about a little bit before.
Okay.
So SK, I was in the restaurant business for 23 years, from 91 till 2014. Moved to Beaufort in January 19th of 1997. My son's second birthday to the day. We opened
something
up.
about that number 19.
We opened up Beaufort Sonic on May 8th of 97.
Mm-hmm.
And don't ask me how I know these dates in my head.
It's okay. Hopefully you just remember your anniversary.
Yes. 072714.
Yeah.
So, and I was with Sonic Drive, like I said, 23 years. I left in 2014. I started in 91 as a cook and made my way up to a director of operations. I had 14 locations.
Nice.
So, Beaufort, Bluffton, Ladies Island, Savannah, Hilton Head, Tybee Island, Hinesville, Fitzgerald, and Jessup, and a couple within that area. Left there in 2014, worked with a buddy of mine at a sign shop while SK was started. Literally July 4th, we started. And I had the opportunity to buy his sign shop 6 years ago. And then we moved over here, put those together, and then SK's kind of grown into sign shop is maybe a third of what we do anymore. It's mostly videography, photography, and social media management is the bulk of our revenue.
Okay.
We have about 150 clients that we handle social media for across the states. Town of Port Royal, City of Beaufort, Beaufort Regional Chamber, Brody's, KC Mike's.
Visitor Center.
The Visitor Center.
Hey, I know Chris at Brody's.
Oh, Chris is great. Foolish Frog. We do the Live Lipson's Gallery, the Gullah Geechee Visitor Center on St. Helena.
Okay.
With Reverend Hodges. So we have an eclectic group of clients, not just one genre or specific. And in every year, I have a goal that I set for myself. And 2021 was to do a podcast. So in February, at the time, I think you were still living with us. Oh, no, it was
No,
close
not
to
yet.
you moved out.
We had moved a few months before.
We had a space in the back of my house that we put a table in there and just set it up. Really, if you see where we started and where we began, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Even within 10 months or so. And then we had the idea to bring some stuff here and do it here. And initially, the podcast was about he and I just conversing. We had...
My wife will be very pleased that you didn't say conversating.
Oh. We had an actor on from the middle, Atticus Schaefer out of California.
ABC comedy.
We had an influencer out of California as well. We've had a couple people do
I always forget about the people we brought in remotely. It seems so long ago.
Season 2, more focused on small business owners, public officials, or public. We've had both mayors on.
Nice.
And Toot Sweet Macarons. We've had Sugar Bell in last week. Beef Brody out of Bluffton, which owns Tactical Baby Gear, and it's a baby gear garnered for those that like the military lifestyle. So it's diaper bags and camo.
I think I've seen that on Facebook.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm sure you have. A fantastic gentleman. Again, started from the bottom and worked his way up to a multi-million-dollar company. So 2021 was a goal for me to do a podcast, and then now with us focusing on small business, if I can get your story to one person, or they can see you, and if it motivates one person, then I'm happy.
I went about this whole interview wrong.
No. It's you telling your story.
Absolutely.
And folks getting to know you and who you are, because everybody's got a story. Every small business owner has a story. There's a struggle and all that. So I got two questions actually. So if you were to give any advice to any person starting out in a small business today, what would you give them?
The only advice I would say is don't have a plan B. If I'd have had a plan B, there's so many times where I would have turned around and just chosen that. There was a point in starting just writing a business plan. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to drive trucks. I wanted to go back into my engineering field. And all of that fell through because I was half-hearted. It was almost like I just want to do this to get away from this.
Yeah.
And I realized that in starting a business, every person that I've talked to, you can't have a backup plan.
Right.
You have to go full throttle into it, give it all of you got. That way, if you fall, you say, hey, I left it all on the field. Yeah. There was nothing withheld. So that's it.
That's perfect. Yeah, because if you have a backup plan, then you're not going to try as hard. You know you've got something to fall back on and to catch you. That goes with anything, even from relationships to school.
It's not a leap of
life.
faith if you get a big old bungee cord.
Right.
Yeah. So secondly, do you consider yourself successful?
I considered myself successful the first person that took a Bible. After that, everything is excess.
Okay.
Every burger that we sell, every dog that we sell, blew my mind when we won Best Hot Dog in the Low Country. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But again, all just a front. The minute someone took a Bible, I was like, I did my job, I'm good. If we want to lose from here on out, we're good. $30,000 invested, but still.
Yeah.
But yes, I consider myself a success.
Excellent. Well, Doc, I appreciate it. It's been a great experience. Mm-hmm. I think we've a friendship, hopefully, to come from this.
Absolutely. I want to see more. I've already subscribed to the podcast.
Okay.
I want to see the videos.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we'll do both video and audio. So if you're riding, you want to re-listen to it, or you know what I mean. So
I think my voice sounds terrible.
So J. Lee Coney's, go visit them. What's your physical address?
2121 Boundary Street, Suite 108, right behind the Outback Steakhouse and Bank of America.
Yep, right there on the corner spot.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and Facebook.
Somebody's still going to get lost.
Yeah. You're on Instagram and Facebook?
Instagram and Facebook. Probably should do a lot better on my social media, but again, terrible at advertising. I'm a horrible manager. Just
Well, I think you guys do a great job. Do you create the graphics and the small things on there and all that? Yeah. So we'll have a conversation off camera about that.
Sounds good.
Thanks everybody for watching.